name is Quinn. I'm 51 years old, yes. And I'm originally from Southern California, Redondo Beach.
Okay. When and what brought you to St. Louis?
I was in the military. I was in the Air Force up until 97. And it was, I wanted to get out and get a job. And I had a lot of connections over here already. I also have family out here in Missouri. And I wanted to see what it's like to live somewhere that's a little less plastic than California. So I decided to stay here.
How did you hear about CrossFit and how long ago was that?
It was 2013, I want to say. A friend of mine is a police officer, and Soulard was his beat, and he told me about this CrossFit place. I had heard about CrossFit before, back in 2006-ish. A friend of mine who's a boxing, he's a professional boxer, he said, hey Rich, let's do a CrossFit workout. I didn't know what the hell he was talking about. So we go over to my house, and I had some work, I had some dumbbells, I had a barbell and a rack and all that. And his idea of a CrossFit workout was do 100 push-ups, 100 pull-ups, and then do a bunch of lunges and do something with a kettlebell. And well, after 8 push-ups, I'm staring at my carpet and I'm thinking, this really sucks. Fuck this. And so he's like, so this is a CrossFit workout, yeah. So I gave up on it shortly thereafter. I just felt like there's nothing in my future with CrossFit except staring at my carpet, because I can't do more than about 10 push-ups at that time. And my friend, this cop I told you about, he was doing CrossFit over closer to Richmond Heights. I want to say off of Dale Avenue somewhere. And he was doing CrossFit over there. And he said, hey, you ought to try this. I'm like, no, you're on crack. Stay out of the evidence room, dude. I'm not doing this shit. And then he went to this other place. I want to say, I don't know where 314 is, but I know he did it like South City CrossFit or CrossFit St. Louis, something like that. It's in Brentwood?
Yeah,
okay.
Sure.
He was doing that one. And he said, hey, try this. I'm like, no. And then he gets stationed, he gets set up in Soulard. They assign him to Soulard. And he says, well, try this place out. I'm like, all right. And I went through elements class with Matt Martin, and probably after the first or second class, I was hooked. I didn't know you all had this thing called scaling, where if you can't do 100 push-ups, you do a subset of that, and you complete the workout, and it's all good, and then you got something to build from.
Yeah.
As opposed to just staring at your carpet with the feeling of utter abject failure. Anyway, that's my answer.
Cool. That's a great answer.
Going through high school, I didn't really play any sports. I had short legs, I had short arms, and a big giant pot belly. I was built like baby Godzilla, except without having a tail and without having Godzilla as my dad. I was not athletic at all. So coming out of high school, I worked out a little bit. I worked out at a place called Jack LaLanne's,
okay.
Where you had all these machines and stuff. And it was, what, we're talking 83. Most of you weren't even born back then. You were just concepts. But Jack LaLanne's, it was kind of like it'd been around for a little while, but it was like people were just starting to really get into fitness.
Yeah.
You had, but there was nothing organized about it like it is today. You had people just doing dumb shit all over the place. You'd have people up there warming up, bouncing, and ripping their hamstrings out of joint and just doing a lot of dumb shit. Nobody knew what they were really doing. And of course, they were the ones to tell you that you're doing the exercise wrong and this is how you bench, wing your elbows out a little more.
Yeah.
It was interesting, but yeah, I didn't really have much background, but I started working out on my own, because I didn't like the way I looked.
But nothing about that fitness culture was appealing to you.
No, just that what was appealing to me was not being fat.
When did you join CrossFit Gambit?
2013.
Okay. So around that time, like right before you got talked into coming to Gambit, what was your routine like at that time?
Before then, I belonged to this little powerlifting gym out by Family Fitness on Manchester, and bench press, deadlift, squat,
Okay.
And it was a very non-inclusive group. If you had a sub 300-pound bench press, you go sit in the corner over there. Nobody talked to you. It's like you're unworthy.
But you were at least doing some functional movements, some compound
Basic
movements and stuff.
yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah.
Did you have a goal in mind when you walked into CrossFit Gambit?
Be less mediocre. I was always in mediocre shape, nothing great, and I always had a bit of lard on me, and I was always very mediocre, and I wanted to be less.
Let me ask you this. Did you have a goal walking in, and did that goal change, say, after the Elements course, after you started like a month or two in, where you kind of...
I saw specific things that I would like to do, like the overhead squat we did today. I think I could barely manage 75 pounds, when I was first doing overhead squats. I think it was just after Elements, Corey Wilson was teaching, and I'd fall on my back often like a turtle.
Yeah. What are your goals like lately, the last year or so? Are they more body-oriented? Are they more skill-oriented?
Skill-oriented. Because, when I came in, you see all these movements, like I suck at that, I suck at that, I suck at that, I suck at that. And you realize, hey, I can't simultaneously not suck at all this stuff. I got to target it. So one of the things is ring dips. I was lousy at ring dips, so I would work on those individually. I used to be just chicken shit at rope climbs, so I started working on rope climbs. Now I can do those. And, I started just targeting stuff. When I started initially, I didn't really have any specific goal in mind. It was enough for me just to show up and try to keep up. But now it's like I'm a little more targeted in that I have specific, it's a drone actually, I have specific things I want to accomplish, Last week we were doing a movement that involved muscle up attempts, if not muscle ups. Those muscle up attempts, for me they were attempts, deadlifts and burpees. Oddly enough, I've never made burpees a goal, but I would like to get to do muscle ups.
On you physically, mentally, how has it changed your life? Like what's different?
Physically, I had a DEXA scan done. I had that done about 6 months before I started CrossFit, and I had one done by Simon from Revel Kitchen about close to a year ago, and I had put on about 12 pounds of muscle mass. Before I had it done, I was like 185 at 26% body fat. When I had it done by Simon, I was close to I was about 215 at about 22% body fat. The first time I had it done was a little heavier than 185. I do know I gained 12 pounds of mass.
Okay.
So physically,
does that tell you about your bone density?
Yes, it does.
No, how was that?
That I didn't really look at that. I probably should have, but I was really just focused on fat and muscle. But I do know I put on 12 pounds of mass and lost a bit of fat.
And so you said you're 51 now, mm-hmm. And so when you joined CrossFit, you were 48.
Yeah.
So how's that come into play? Because age always becomes an excuse for a lot of people coming to the gym, and I'm not for a minute going to say you're old, but people as soon as people that are in their mid 30s are talking about they're too old to do these things.
People
so
23 said that.
Yeah.
American
culture. You hear that excuse all the time. So I guess has your attitude or has your opinion changed, or do you feel differently after starting it? Like how's your body feel?
I definitely feel better. I feel a lot more can-do approaching a workout. I still get a little amped up before a WOD, which you probably should.
Yeah.
I don't just go walk in there like I'm playing golf. But if people didn't have age for an excuse, they'd find another one.
True.
It's just age is easy. Oh, yeah. I'm 51. Okay,
yeah.
I'm in the clear. I don't have to do this shit.
That's pretty concise.
Yeah.
What's your experience like with your friends that don't do CrossFit?
My favorite meme is the one where there's a guy at a bunch of urinals, and he's all the way over in one urinal, and then the next panel shows a guy next to him saying, "Hey, I do CrossFit."
Yeah.
That's my favorite meme. I love that one.
Yeah.
No, I don't do that. But with regard to my friends outside of CrossFit, well, when I socialized into St. Louis back in '97, when I first, I was at Scott Air Force Base, I started socializing. I got to Scott at '91, And I pretty much started socializing into St. Louis around 95. That's kind of when I anticipated getting out of the military. And most people I socialized with were into the bar, the bar scene. I knew every bar back, bouncer, bar owner, bartender, and all the different bars from here to like Midtown. So getting them into something like CrossFit, you know, not so much. My friends outside of CrossFit, well, let me put it like this. If you ever watch a CrossFit video on YouTube and you read the comments, they would have you believe that every other person in this gym has two dislocated, shoulders, and that we're all just a mass of running injuries held together with duct tape and baling wire, that CrossFit is extremely injurious and dangerous, and that you don't get any results, and all that's bullshit. I just prefer to be an example. But I mean, it's, a lot of people think, they think they gotta look like Kelly, otherwise what's the point of being here? You know? And that's what a lot of people don't get, is CrossFit is for everybody.
How did you feel when you first walked in? I guess that's a pretty good question. Like, what were you expecting those first couple days, and then how did you feel when you got here?
Well, my first couple of days, I'm like, all right, they're going to make me do 100 push-ups here. But that wasn't the case. Matt Martin was my Elements coach. I could not have asked for a better coach, except for you, Andrew. But it was that was my first exposure, and he would always explain very thoroughly the scaling options. It's okay. It's like a 30-inch box jump at first. I'm not jumping on that, but I guess when I first came in, I didn't really understand about scaling. Like I told you, my initial experience with CrossFit didn't have any. And I think a lot of people don't understand that there are scaling options, and that's part of what CrossFit's about. There's no elitist attitude over here, You'll have a guy with a...
Yeah, but you didn't know that walking in. I'm just curious what your first, your knee-jerk reaction was coming in, just by... looking around, seeing the other people.
I saw a lot of movement, a lot of what I perceived to be chaos. A lot of people moving around doing stuff. And I'm like, what's he doing? What's she doing? Oh, wow, I can't lift all that, And I see a bunch of stuff.
I think I know what your answer will be. What we like to ask everybody: what is your favorite movement in CrossFit?
No, I wouldn't say that. I get performance anxiety these days with deadlifts. Oh man, I don't want to be a shell of my former self. But actually, clean and press.
Clean and press.
I'm not that great at it. I definitely have a lot of room for improvement, but I like it. I'm starting to get better at it, and I know when I'm doing it right because I'm not as taxed to my quads.
Just out of curiosity, what's your max deadlift these days?
505.
And your max clean and jerk or clean and press?
190 something. Nothing to brag about.
Not bad though, not bad.
Needs work.
Rich, thanks for coming by and talking with me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.